chances are you have never experienced what this planet is actually supposed to sound like. We live in a system that is designed to turn our attention away from the voices of the living Earth. Most of us are not even aware of it, but that kind of distraction comes at a massive cost. This is what nature used to sound like. And this is what it will sound like very soon. You might not realize, but that's exactly how a biodiversity crisis begins. Piece by piece, the natural soundscape of the Earth is fading away.
We are creating a future for our kids where we are leaving them a world of less wild places, fewer of all the things that we have had the benefit of living with.
Noise is virtually everywhere. In cities where millions of sounds collide every second, it can even escalate into something that puts us at risk. Take a look at this. It's a noise meter and measures sound levels in decibel. Around 40 is considered pretty silent. Above 70 means you're in a pretty noisy environment. And constant exposure above 80 can actually lead to long-term health issues. This map shows noise across the United States. The bright spots are the noisiest areas, and cities tend to be twice as loud as natural environments, and almost no place where humans live is free from noise anymore. And that's not even the worst of it. By 2030, nearly 60% of the world's population will live in cities, so human noise is going to increase massively. Constant noise isn't just annoying. Studies show that it's tied to higher blood pressure, stress, anxiety, and even long-term problems like hearing loss and cardiovascular disease. These issues often go completely unnoticed. They're building up silently. So naturally, we tend to seek refuge in nature. But what happens if even those escapes are no longer safe? You see, the noise we bring with us doesn't just stay in our cities. As we search for quiet, we tend to expand into natural spaces. But even there, our artificial sounds follow us. And you might not be aware that wildlife really heavily depends on sound to survive. Birds tend to use calls to communicate with each other. Whales and dolphins rely on underwater soundscapes to navigate. The list goes on. Now those signals are simply lost amidst the constant noise of highways, passing ships and planes overhead. Animals are struggling to communicate, and when species can't adapt quickly enough, it puts entire ecosystems at risk. Now sadly, these changes are happening everywhere, and they're only accelerating. Natural sounds are simply becoming a lot harder to find these days, and it almost seems like true silence is on the verge of extinction. But what does it sound like when an ecosystem begins to fail? And how would we even know this? Acoustic ecologists have spent decades documenting the sounds of the world's most amazing environments. And they argue that silence is often the last warning.
We are encroaching further and further every day into wildlife habitat. And that drives emerging diseases.
So by the time a forest or ocean or whatever falls quiet, the damage is already too extensive. And the data actually backs this up. Studies show that over 70% of global wildlife has declined since the 1970s. And this isn't random, it's directly tied to human interference. Noise pollution doesn't just disrupt communication, it changes behavior, drives species out of their natural environments, and pushes them closer to extinction. But if the sounds of the nature are disappearing, how do we bring them back? Now, before I tackle that question and how to navigate the growing silence of the natural world and even potentially reverse it, I want to take a quick moment to talk about the sounds that you've been hearing throughout this video, and I want to thank Artlist for making it all possible. If you make videos for the internet, sound is really crucial for creating emotion. But we don't always capture perfect audio when filming. That's when a sound effects library becomes essential. Artlist is a creative technology platform that provided not only most of the soundscapes you've heard in this video, they also hooked me up with the color grading presets that I used for my footage. It's super easy. On the Artlist platform, I just selected LUTs on the left side, then picked some of the sample videos that closely resembled my own footage and used the slider to preview how the footage looks like. After I found a couple of suitable ones, just downloaded them and added them with a couple of clicks to my own project. With a subscription you get unlimited access to the music and sound effects starting at less than $10 per month for the creator plan. If you want more, they also offer upgrades for commercial use and even Artlist Max, which includes editing assets like stock footage, templates and presets for less than $39. My link in the description gives you 2 months for free if you sign up for the annual plan, and they currently got a holiday sale going on which knocks off another 10%. Wow, so definitely make sure to check it out. But even with tools like this, there is really something special about hearing the raw sounds of the nature in the wild. So what if you could still experience a place where nature's voice remains kind of completely undisturbed? I'll give you a pretty good example where things went quite unexpected. So let's have a look at the most iconic beach destination located in Thailand. It became super famous because of Hollywood.
I guess there's this urban myth going around here at the moment. It's about a beach.
A secret beach on an island that no one can get to.
And at its peak, hundreds of boats brought thousands of tourists every day.
Look how busy it is. All those people.
So as a result, the majority of the coral reef vanished within just 30 years. And in response, the government did something like really unexpected.
They're closing because tourists have spent so much time here and kind of ruined the natural life.
They just decided to shut down the site. But here's where it gets more unexpected even. Within just a few months, the sharks and other marine life began to return.
We have counted the highest amount of black-tip reef shark, which is 161 shark, after it was reopened for a year.
And the whole story was so remarkable, they now close the park regularly and even started to regrow the coral to preserve the place for the future. And that really shows how hard it is to keep beautiful spots under the radar, especially now with all of the social media. Quiet places are getting much harder to find. And if you want to experience them, you really have to put in the effort. But what if we could actually protect the sound of a place? That's what an initiative called Quiet Parks is all about. Those parks are designed to keep nature's soundscapes intact, and they're giving both wildlife and visitors a chance to actually enjoy the quiet.
I think people come to national parks and they expect to hear natural sounds and not much deviation from that.
Now the problem is, even with the best intentions, people tend to disturb those places anyway. So I guess even those initiatives aren't necessarily enough. Many of us, I think, have almost forgotten what it is to sit with the sounds of the nature because we're so used to our urban environment. Studies show that time spent in nature doesn't just improve mental health, it really helps us to focus and feel more connected. I think we gotta start by seeking out quiet places a lot more often, and we should limit our own contribution to noise pollution. Imagine if cities would be designed with more quiet spaces, and imagine a world where silence is valued as much as clean air and water. Luckily, the natural world isn't completely silent yet, and if we act now, it doesn't necessarily have to be. Thank you so much for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, you might also want to check out this playlist right here. And with that said, I will catch you one of the next ones.